Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. But first up, we want to bring in a friend of ours, a competitive shooter, top-level, championship-level competitive shooter, who also happens to be working at SIG Sauer, the gun company. Phil Strader joins us right now. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. It's weird doing this thing first thing in the morning. I used to do it in the afternoon. It's like, okay, time shifting, wake up, have coffee, make sure you're awake.
Yeah. It's actually my first interview sitting here at SIG Sauer, so I'm right in the middle of the mothership right now.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So how long have you been at SIG?
I just started my 7th year.
Oh, okay. Well, it might work out. You never know.
I hope it does. I don't know. It's you never know.
They keep running you up the ladder. Where are you now?
I am now the director of product management for firearms, ammunition, air guns. So staying pretty busy.
And you guys just keep bringing out stuff, and it's an interesting situation. When I talk about SIG to people, it's hard to describe what happens at SIG, when you're on the outside, not on the inside, because, they expect you to say it. But I say, look, there's a culture there that's different or impressive or singular or whatever the word is you want to use. But when you go throughout the whole place, everywhere you go, and is that just too much of a word to use to say there's a culture of excellence there?
No, it's not. It is. We are a company that is filled with people who love what they do. They love the industry. They love their product. They're just gun folks. It's very, very hard to find anyone in this company, all the way up from the leadership, executive level, down to the lowest level of employee who just maybe comes to work and builds guns all day. They all love the product. You'll be hard pressed to find someone who doesn't. So that passion kind of carries through to what we do and what our product is, and you can see the passion and the love that we put into it, and it's pretty evident. And I've worked in the industry before. I've been with other companies, and I know a lot of people in other parts of the industry, and we do stand out, and I couldn't be prouder to be a part of it.
And not to say there aren't a lot of really good gun companies who make a lot of good products, and we know that because, we all own a lot of different things. If I said, do you own a revolver? I'm guarantee you own a revolver, and you guys aren't making any, at least not as of today, unless you're going to make an announcement today.
No, there will be no such an announcement today, I'm afraid.
The other thing that strikes me as I kind of look at SIG and, walk through the operation there is, you may have more engineers than any gun company I know of, and it seems to me that kind of permeates everything too, which is wonder what we could do if, and then you turn these engineer/geek people loose.
Yes, yeah, we have more engineers than every gun company. I would dare say that we have more than most of the big companies combined. But
wow.
That absolutely shows through some of the ingenuity, and I wouldn't say, like you said, there's a lot of good products out there. I think that maybe gun companies are starting to take note of, look, it's not just about the status quo and relying on the people who may or may not love your product and they're just going to buy whatever you come out with. Now they're starting to see, the 365, let's face it, the P365 started a trend that, it's not about just making guns that compete with other guns. It's about doing something that's different and special and something that will, create a new marketplace. And that's what we did with that, and that's what we're continuing to do. And I think there are other companies that are starting to finally get that, and they're coming out with better product. I think the new stuff that you're seeing now across the industry is better on a wider scale from larger companies than it ever was. And I like to think that we kind of led that charge, and but that doesn't mean we're going to slow down. We're going to keep pushing the envelope and
right.
And see what happens.
Well, and you mentioned the P365. It's hard for people to understand now how that changed things because there are a lot of others in that category. But you created an entire category. There was no category there that was the 365, and now there are a lot of others that are like that. And so, I mean, back to what you said, I think you're right. Other companies looked at that and went, wow, that's pretty innovative. That's a pretty cool product. And also, I mean, reality is, because we're all in business to make money, they said, we got to get a piece of that action, right?
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, that's,
that was,
I always tell people that you got to understand the reason we all go to work each day is to make money. It's all about making a profit. If we don't do that, we got no place to work.
Yes, exactly. Well, look, it was an opportunity for us to seek a part of a marketplace that didn't exist. So when it doesn't exist, you create it, and that gun certainly created it. Now you'll be good luck trying to find a micro compact 9mm that holds less than 10 rounds these days that comes out new. And if it is, then shame on them, because that ship has sailed.
You can find them, but they're all being discounted online.
Exactly.
They're being dumped. I mean, as somebody in the industry said, thank God for CDNN. We can get rid of our stuff that's not selling.
Right.
So there you go. Let's talk a little bit about competitive shooting. I mean, how long have you been doing that?
This is my 29th year.
Throughout that period of time, I mean, we're talking 3 decades here. You've seen an awful lot of changes in the organizations and everything else. Is it as popular now? Is it as intense now as it ever has been? What do you see?
Oh, it's way more intense than it used to be. And back in the day when I started, there were a few big players, and the industry was, a little bit more involved, just because there were less big matches and there weren't as many shooting sports. But as interest has grown and participation has grown, and industries are now starting to they're starting to use that fabric of competitive shooting to start to make products. I mean, that's kind of where the modern 1911 came from, was when these guys were just kind of building up their 1911s, welding parts onto them and making them shoot and feel better. And the industry took note, and now the industry's trying to go the other way. They're trying to build guns for competitive shooters or anyone, enthusiast shooters, that they can just pick up and go go start shooting. We did it with the X5 Legion. There's Canik just came out with that metal rival competition gun they made. So there's companies out there that are building firearms for that community specifically, because they know that community, all they want is they just want a gun that shoots better, less recoil, better performance, better accuracy. And instead of just selling a gun and having the competitive shooting group modify it and make it better, they're just making it better from the factory. And that's kind of the trend that's been holding it. The competitive shooting has become so intense and so involved that now industries are either A, catering to it and making guns to make them for, or B, they're hiring people and sponsoring people and making them part of the company that were influential in that industry. And we've kind of done a little bit of both of that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when you got like a Max Michel and your team, your shooting team out there, not only are they competing for you and, holding the flag for you, but they're giving you the feedback of, if you did this to this gun, it might be a little better. And they're giving you all this feedback that comes back to you guys. Yeah.
We've got Team SIG for that, to show not only that the products can be completely dominant in the shooting sports, but they, like you said, they're offering feedback, and not to mention that I'm in this position. I was lucky enough to get hired by SIG, but I'm not a professional shooter technically. I am at the pro level, but I don't shoot for a living. But I shoot as an enthusiast, and I can fairly say that I've probably competed with more different types of firearms than anyone, and my entire team shoots competitively. I mean, I was just at a match last night, a club match at the SIG Experience Center. We're doing Wednesday night club matches there now. I was at the very first USPSA match, and there were 2 of my employees, and then 2 or 3 people from project management were there. So, we're getting them involved in the sport. So not only can they see how their products perform, but they can also, give real world critiques. Like, man, I wish this was a little bit different. And, they happen to know a guy and I know a guy, so we can usually make the changes that are necessary to make better products. So I think the cohesion between the industry and competitive shooting is always going to be a benefit for not just us, the competitors, but anyone who wants a better pistol to shoot.
What is the SIG Custom Works?
Well, SIG Custom Works is basically it's a custom department, if you will, that SIG Sauer basically builds special products. It's either going to be something that stands out above the rest, or something that's going to be made in a limited run. But it's actually a little bit. We're turning it a little bit more than that. Now we're actually going to be starting to expand that line up to have. Of course, we have our concierge service where you can actually build a custom 320 and have it engraved. The FCU Custom Works products where you can actually buy an FCU and build it yourself online. And eventually we're going to be our Custom Works, our new product manager who's dealing with a lot of our Custom Works products is going to be starting to make limited one-time runs of like a gun of the month or maybe a gun of the season kind of setup to where we offer, a very exclusive SIG for a very limited time, probably in limited runs of 500 to 1,000 guns. And we're going to kind of put those out throughout the season. And we have a lot of interesting ideas. We have a brand new piece of machinery that can do incredible engraving. So we're definitely going to put that into some of our more artistic engineers and industrial designers' hands and see what kind of crazy stuff they can dream up. But I'm pretty excited about what our new guy brings to the table. He's actually going to be at our range day. So if you guys are by, obviously, I'd love to introduce you to him.
Sure. Something has happened. What's happened to allow you to do a run of 500 or 1,000? I mean, in the old days, that would have been unthinkable to shut a line down and then put something special in and run 500. What's going on that lets you do that now?
Well,
it's CNC or
not. Well, yeah, it's not as hard as you think, right? If we have a dedicated machine, and in this case we will have a dedicated machine just for Custom Works products, then we can, to a degree, obviously, we don't want to shut down a large section of the line to make small limited runs. But if we have access to a 5-axis or a 4-axis machine that we can say, hey, look, we want to build 500 of these slides, what kind of impact is this going to have on the line? And the answer is minimal to none. Then we will do that. Or we could simply take what we already have, an existing slide, and put it in this new laser engraving machine we have. And, you just wouldn't believe what we can do with this machine. It actually makes it look like a different slide, although it's coming off of the same machine. So obviously we want to give people new products, but we also have to be very mindful of the machine that is SIG, which is, it's a large scale operation with, huge 24/7 vertical machines and robots. And I mean, you Google SIG Sauer manufacturing and you can see some of the stuff that we're doing out there. So we have to be very careful how we impact big SIG, but when it comes to some of our Custom Works products, we are intending to basically pull some machines specifically for that product and give some people some very special products in the midst of a huge operation like we are. Can't wait. It's going to be very exciting.
I mean, it sounds exciting, and it's interesting you mentioned the machine that is SIG, and it's one of the things I learned in manufacturing, talking to people who make stuff, is that, it's one thing to design and make the product, but actually a big part of that is designing and making the process, which is the factory and how everything goes through. And that's where I see massive efficiencies when I walk through your factory there. It's just like, holy cow, this thing runs fabulously.
Yes, it's one of the most impressive yet terrifying things to look at because I don't know how anything gets done, and it scares me every day when I go through thinking, oh man, I sure hope I don't nothing happens that interrupts all this process.
Screws this whole thing.
You don't really get a good idea until you walk through it. It is something.
All right, if you had to grab somebody, do the elevator pitch, you got 2 or 3 guns, you say, look, you may not have heard of these. Let me tell you what we've been doing over the last 6 months or a year. You got to take a look at these. What would they be?
Well, if you're listening to this on Sunday and you're planning to go to the show, or most importantly to SIG Range Day and our Premier Media Day, which I certainly hope you can make it, we are actually coming out with a few new products. Obviously, the big one that everyone's been talking about is the Spear, the big MCX, the basically the commercial version of our NGSW rifle. And that is actually going to be at Range Day. We're going to be shooting that live fire. That actually launches in Q1. We're launching that early this year, so we're pretty excited about that. We've been putting some of the Spectre Comp or X Macro Comp technology. We're putting some of that into a 320. We're going to be launching that and showing that the first time it shot at Range Day, and that gun shoots so well. That gun shoots so well, and that technology is so interesting that USPSA is changing their definition of what a compensator is. So this pistol basically broke the competitive shooting organization, and it's incredible. So I am very, very proud of that one. Not because my name's on the patent, maybe, but it was.
That's okay. You can be
cool
proud. It's okay.
Good. Yeah, good. So yeah, that's going to be great. We're actually going to be introducing a new, basically a new take on the 365X Macro, which has been our most popular pistol. That gun carried us through Q4. It's just been incredible. We're going to have a different take on that pistol. Some folks have been asking for a Macro without the integrally slide ported compensated version. So we'll be giving that to them. But honestly, the products is the product side. That's easy for us. But we're actually doing something a little bit different this year with basically a new program. Now, granted, it does have a couple of new guns around it.
All right, and I got about a minute left, so go ahead and tell me about the program.
Well, it's called the Rose. It's called Rose by SIG SAUER, and what it is basically it's a program designed for women education, women empowerment. Of course, there are two firearms that we're offering with the system, but the gun's going to come in an incredibly just well-made, awesome box, beautifully engraved gun, a safe in the box, a lot of literature, and you also become a member of the Rose program where you get access to Lena Miculek and her resources and YouTube videos and instructional series, and it's just a way to help women feel comfortable in that shooting, gun ownership, and training environment. And it's something we're getting really behind. We've got a whole section set up just for it at our Range Day.